I must preface this film review with two things real quick. First of all, this film is hands down the gayest film I've ever watched. So, homophobes out there, don't even bother watching this film. You will hate it from the first 10 seconds. The second thing that I have to state is this film, while it's not exactly graphic, this is probably one of the most excessive films that I've ever watched in terms of sexuality. So, just a heads up. Bros is the newest film from the Judd Apatow production, and it's directed by Nicholas Stoller, who I know for a fact co-wrote and directed Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and I believe that he was the director for Get Him to the Greek, which is a pseudo-sequel to Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Don't quote me on the direction of that though, but I am pretty sure that he was the director of that too, among other varied comedy films mostly. And Bros is from the people that made, the likes of The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Superbad, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Get Him to the Greek, This Is 40, The 5-Year Engagement, all of those goodies. Bros, honestly, for me, would have landed so much better if this film were made and released about 15 years ago, back in those heydays of these kind of films. Bros is a really good film, mainly just because it is really funny. It tries so hard to be the most inclusive film ever, and it does mostly succeed in that department. The problem that I have with Bros is that it's overly excessive in basically every single category. Inclusivity, sexuality, just excessive all across the board. Now, the acting may not be liked by everybody because the acting isn't exactly standard. Bros is a very gay film. So these actors, whether they're gay or straight, I don't know. I don't know these people personally. Don't know anything about them, honestly. So whether they acted gay or they just are gay, they were acting in a gay fashion for this film in particular. Now, this film, really the only problem I have with this film is that, like I said, this is made by the Judd Apatow company and the people. It wasn't exactly written and directed by Judd Apatow himself, which I love every single film he's ever written and directed. The problem I have with Bros, though, is that it sticks so closely to all of those other films' formulas. Honestly, if I were to compare this so closely to a specific one, during this film, I was honestly thinking this is basically The 5-Year Engagement, except gayer. Bros, and honestly, before I even went into this film, I knew nothing about this film except the production company behind it. And once I hear Apatow Productions, I'm set, I'm all in. And even if I hate a film that is from that company, which I'm pretty sure I never have, and I'm just strictly saying that before this film, and maybe after, we don't know yet. But I always have just entertainment value out of all of Apatow's films. And Bros is extremely funny, but the humor is just melded so far into inclusivity and inclusive jokes, and it's nothing but just jokes wrapped around trying so hard to be the next inclusive company here. And another gripe I have with Bros is that a lot of the writing for the story and the characters is actually really cliche. So the last film from the Apatow Productions, written and directed by Judd Apatow, unless I missed one, was The King of Staten Island, which for that film I thought was meh. It was mostly on the good side, but you can tell that the Apatow team, their heyday is like 10 years ago. Bros is continuing the trend of basically the same formula that they've had since the 40-Year-Old Virgin. It's just two people find each other. They're complete opposites. They're together throughout the majority of the film. Shit happens. People embarrass one another. Shit happens. They separate and then continue on with the story. It's the exact same formula as any other film such as Knocked Up. Now, honestly, outside of just the cliche character writing, honestly, I was entertained by this film just probably because I was laughing out loud at how excessive and how far this film was trying so hard to be. I wasn't laughing at the inclusivity of it. I was laughing more so at basically the writing style and the direction style of, let's see how far we can get to try and make this an X-rated film, which honestly, I'm surprised that this isn't an X-rated film. My guess would be because this isn't exactly graphic. It has scenes that you may consider graphic, but I consider every single scene in this film more so just excessive. Like, you don't ever really see graphic nudity, you just kind of see nudity, but everything is just so super excessive. Maybe it's just the amount, the quantity, rather than the quality of, the excessiveness and the objectification of everything. Overall, for me, Bros is a very entertaining comedy film at the very least. It kind of stumbles and sometimes fails in a lot of the other departments, mainly the inclusivity part, because it just seems like they're trying so damn hard to make their own inclusive film, and they're really trying to shove it down your throat. Like a prime example, and I'm not going to put my personal opinion into it, there's literally an entire, I'd say, 5-minute scene of an argument between main character and second grade school teacher about why they aren't educating their little, we're talking like 5-year-olds, on sexuality. Now, for me personally, if you're a parent and you have a child that asks about any kind of sexuality, as the parent of the child, I believe you should be 100% open and honest about any kind of sexuality that they're asking about, or even just be in vivid detail. Now, if you're a complete stranger to said child, which honestly a teacher is, they should have no room in their life to educate them on sexuality. Especially a teacher, their job they get paid for is to educate on history. Or even better yet, like there are school teachers and school districts out there for English teachers, or I don't know, gym teachers. I guess it would make more sense for gym teachers, but I still agree with it. But all of these extra different kind of subjected teachers just forcing sexuality down all of these young kids' throats. And it's not that I disagree with talking to kids about sexuality. I'm more so in agreement where it should be the parent, the legal guardian, who should have the say in talking to the child, not some random stranger, whether it be in a public building or on the street. It should definitely 100% just be the parents, not even family members, the parents, especially for any kid that's under 10 years old. I'm sorry for the rant, I just had to get that out there. Now, overall for me, back to the film, Bros is a really funny, although just kind of a bit out there film that I give a very solid and very funny 7 out of 10. Thank you.